Deep thoughts, shallow host. All right, you maniacs, it's your Uncle Bob. So, listen up. I've been doing some research, going down this crazy rabbit hole, looking into these head cases who think they got life all figured out. And let me tell you, what I found? It is a wild ride.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Look at this picture. What is going on here? You got a cop, a kid, some fella who looks like he just got off a time-traveling steamship, and they're all just staring at this turkey on the ground. And the kid says, "I can't understand it. What happened?" And that right there, that's the whole ballgame. That one little question, according to these guys I've been reading about, is what separates, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, because according to these fellas, there are only two kinds of stories in the entire world. And the whole thing, the entire shebang, it all hangs on that one simple question.
So you got your novella, which asks, what happened, and your tale, which asks, what's gonna happen? Okay, here's the difference, all right? The tale is you're at a party, and your buddy Steve, who's had a few too many, starts telling the biggest guy in the room that his shirt looks stupid. You're standing there thinking, oh boy, what is gonna happen now? The novella, on the other hand, is you show up an hour later. The snack table's flipped over, there's a fist-sized hole in the wall, and Steve's holding a bag of frozen peas to his eye. You just look at him and go, dude, what happened? See? One's a mystery you gotta solve, the other's just watching the train wreck in real time.
So that's already kind of weird, right? But then these guys, they take it a step further. They say our whole lives are made of lines. Lines? Are you serious? Like we're some kind of highway map or a coloring book for the universe or something? Can you believe these silly geese? Who sits around thinking this stuff up? I mean, go outside, throw a ball around. But I gotta admit, it's kind of fascinating.
So here's the breakdown. There are three main lines that supposedly make up a life. Now, I'm calling them the plan, the weirdness, and the escape, because that's a whole lot easier to understand than the gobbledygook these guys use. So let's dig in.
All right, first up, we got the line we all know. You know, the one your parents were always pushing on you. The sensible one. The one that's boring as all hell.
Oh, get a load of this jargon. Line of rigid segmentarity? What in the world does that even mean? A life proceeding by delimited segments where everything is calculable and foreseen? Is this guy an accountant or a philosopher? Buzz off, you silly goose.
So here's what it is. It's your life on rails. It's my buddy Dave, okay? Dave has his whole life planned out. He's going to work at the same place for 40 years, get that 30-year mortgage on a house with a beige door that perfectly matches his beige sedan. He eats a turkey sandwich for lunch Monday through Thursday. And on Friday he goes nuts and has ham. That, my friends, is a beige sedan life. Predictable, safe, kind of sad.
But here's where it gets interesting. Because running right underneath that boring beige highway, there's another line. A much, much weirder one. This is where the brain squirrels live.
Okay, hold on to your hats for this one. Line of molecular or supple segmentation. You following this? A supple flow of unfindable particles eluding classes, sexes, and persons. Get a load of this head case. I'm telling you, this guy's brain is a bag of wet squirrels. What is he even talking about?
He's talking about the little stuff. You know, the undercurrent. It's those weird thoughts you have when you're stuck in traffic. The sudden urge to organize your entire spice rack alphabetically at 3 in the morning. It's why my buddy Dave, Mr. Beige Sedan himself, all of a sudden started collecting expired coupons. He didn't want to use them, he just wanted to have them. His wife is like, "Dave, what is this box of garbage?" And he couldn't even explain it. That's the brain squirrels, folks, the tiny little cracks in the pavement.
So then, another one of these deep thinkers, this F. Scott Fitzgerald fella, he gets it. He says, of course, all life is a process of breaking down. And he wasn't just talking about the big stuff, the major catastrophes.
And this here explains it perfectly. The big breaks, those are your beige sedan line just snapping in half. You know, you get fired, the house floods, whatever. But the tiny cracks, that's the brain squirrels doing their work. That's when you're sitting there eating your special Friday ham sandwich and you suddenly realize deep in your soul that you despise ham. You can't explain why, you don't know when it happened, but you know you can never, ever eat ham again. That's the supple stellane crack.
And that brings us to the third line. The final option, the one where you don't just get off the highway, you steer the whole damn car straight into a lake. Oh, listen to this dramatic nonsense. The line of flight, a clean break, absolute deterritorialization. Are you kidding me with this? It sounds like an emergency button on a spaceship. What does that even mean for a regular person like you or me?
Here's what it means. It means you don't just quit your job and move to another town to get another, slightly different, boring job.
That's just a jailbreak to a new jail. No, this is different. This is a total system wipe. You vanish. You become somebody else entirely. It's like a guy who's just fed up, walks out of his house for a carton of milk, and the next time anyone sees him, he's in Nebraska working as a professional scarecrow, and he only communicates using a series of hand-carved wooden whistles. He's become imperceptible.
You know what? This is all too much theory. This is making my head hurt. Let me just tell you a story. It's about my cousin Barry. I promise you, this will make all this nonsense click into place.
So my cousin Barry was the king of the beige sedan. I mean, this guy had the perfect job in middle management, the perfect wife, 2.5 kids, a golden retriever named Champ, his lawn, immaculate. He was on the most rigid, segmented line you could possibly imagine. Everything was planned right down to the minute.
And then, the tiny cracks started to show. The brain squirrels moved in. We'd see him in his yard having these, intense, one-sided conversations with the pigeons. Then his wife calls me one night whispering, says Barry had cleared out his entire den to build a shrine to a ceramic garden gnome. That was his suppleglind, folks. The weirdness was starting to leak out.
And then, just like that, poof, one Tuesday afternoon, a meatloaf day, I am sure of it, he was just gone. His car was in the driveway, wallet on the counter. The only thing he left was a single sticky note on the fridge, and all it said was, "The chickens know." That, my friends, that was Barry's line of flight.
We looked everywhere for him. Police, private investigators, nothing. Then, about 6 months later, some hikers found him, deep in the state forest. He was living in this treehouse he'd built out of salvaged parts, and he flat out refused to speak English. He would only communicate through a series of incredibly elaborate bird calls that he had invented himself.
He had a whole system. A long chirp meant yes, 2 short ones meant pass the berries. Can you imagine his wife trying to talk to him? "Barry, the kids miss you. Chirp, chirp." Ha ha ha, ha 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 ha. Oh man. Ah, 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 eh, eh.